Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Distance Dilemma podcast. My name is Shaun, and I'm in Dublin, Ireland. This is Imran. He is in Thun, Switzerland, and this is our long distance friendship podcast. This is episode number 55, and we're going to kick things off like we do every single week with our out of context weekly scenarios. This is the section of the show where me and Imran give each other parts of our week out of context, and the other person has to try and guess what's going on. So, Imran, what is your out of context weekly scenario?
There was a very interesting poster in a cafe.
So, I'm assuming you were at a cafe.
Yeah, well, I'm giving you the story. I'm trying to see if you can figure out what's on the poster.
Was this when you were home?
Yeah.
Was this got to do with music?
No.
Was this in Blanche?
No.
Was it promoting? Was the poster itself promoting some type of event?
No.
No. Was it like a religious poster?
No.
Like God will be with you of some sorts?
No.
No. Was the poster? Did the poster contain like a person or like a celebrity of some sorts?
Not a celebrity, but there was a person on the poster, yeah.
Right. Was it an
Many,
ad?
many, many people. No.
No. It's not an ad.
No.
Okay. So it's just I'm not trying to sell you something. Okay. So you saw this in a cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Was it like something? Was it like a jigsaw poster from back in the day that you were on,
No.
or something? This wasn't got to do with jigsaw.
Nope.
No. Okay. What the hell? Was it got anything got to do with sports?
No.
Film?
Nope.
Like Irish politics?
No. Nothing to do with Irish politics.
You saw an interesting poster in a cafe. It's not an ad. I'm not trying to sell you anything. What, like, was there someone on the poster that we knew?
Personally?
Sure.
No.
So someone on the poster we know as a public figure.
Yeah.
Was it an influencer?
No.
Was it somebody like from Blanche?
No.
Was it Dustin the Turkey?
No.
Jedward?
No. Just to clarify, I did say it wasn't in Blanche.
It wasn't. Oh yeah, it wasn't in Blanche. Okay, I'm looking at straws here. Okay, we're
Well, I give you the Okay, I'm gonna give you the premise of where it was. So on Tuesday, I got the train down to Kilkenny to visit my auntie and my cousin and her new fella. And when we got down there, they collected me from the train station, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna bring you to this really cutesy cafe. Like, it's a really like." And my cousin's vegan as well, so it's really like on topic with like, peace, love, and care, eco-friendly environment cafe. But when I walked into the cafe, they had like a massive poster, like right in dead eye as soon as you come into the cafe, and you're like, that's not what I expected to be in a cafe, especially of this like premise. So that's my. I'm
this
still not
poster.
giving you a clue.
Yeah, is this poster like a poster that we would have seen before? Like, is it like a famous poster that is like
Mm, no,
Well, okay, so the fact you said it's a vegan cafe, was there like something alluding to meat of some
no.
sort?
It's just
Um,
such a random poster to be in the cafe.
has it got anything to do with animals?
No,
It's not politics, it's not music, not animals, not.
it's not Irish politics.
So was Trump on it?
No,
Was there somebody from UK politics?
no,
Is politics involved whatsoever?
yes,
Okay. Was it like Che Guevara?
no. That would make sense to be in a vegan
Yeah.
cafe if Che Guevara was there.
Am
No.
I on the right trail with that sort of?
Yes.
Political activists of some sort.
Not activist, but you're in political. Yeah, yeah.
Somebody who was
You're.
like in parliament at some point, in some form.
Uh, yeah.
Was it Mandela?
No, no. I wouldn't go the left route. That should be a big clue.
Okay, was it Kim Jong Un?
No. That would be funny though. No.
It was this person in Europe,
Yeah.
European politics.
Yes.
That actually makes it more confusing.
Yeah.
Was it Scottish?
No.
Was it UK?
No. You're on the wrong side of Europe. That should be a big clue. And I told you it's not a lefty.
Right, so it's like Romanian, Turkish,
Uh,
Bulgarian type.
yeah, like around a bit more to that side of Europe.
Ukraine.
No.
Fucking hell.
Think more on who the person was and like kind of what they stood for and why it's a bit like, whoa, that's a bit mad to have in a cafe.
Just try to think of fucking Eastern European political people now. Stalin?
Yeah,
What?
yeah, well done, well done. They had Joseph Stalin in like a giant Joseph Stalin, and there was like many figures who I probably wouldn't have been aware of, like that had worked in the Communist Party, and like they had the Russian, they had like a Russian flag built into the poster, like it was, and the Soviet Union like crest was on it. Bro, it was so weird. And like this was such a lefty vegan cafe, and like I walked in and I was just like where I was sitting was just this like giant Joseph Stalin poster
Yeah,
above me.
it's definitely not something I would think was going to be in.
No, and man, just what I mean. Like, because when you walk in, it's like such a, like, and all the workers were lovely there, and it was all like, they had like a vegan option menu, and everyone was very polite. And then it was just this poster, and I have to ask your woman. I was like, I'm sorry, but I have to ask, why do you have a Joseph Stalin poster there? And she said that they actually don't know, and that when they had bought the building, that the poster was there and they never took it off the wall. And I was like, you probably should take that off the wall.
It's definitely a very mixed message.
Like, like it's like I mean, it depends what way you look at them. But I was like, the area and the environment probably doesn't work for the style of cafe you're going for.
Yeah,
So
like
that was my
if
very weird
if
poster
you're gonna do a stick up
experience.
cash only sign,
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly. Wouldn't be far off it now.
the right are slowly creeping in. I see, I see.
I mean, fair play for numbering that down. I didn't think I thought, yeah, I gave you a hard one this week. Fair play, you were able to number it down.
Yeah,
Um,
you made me work for that one.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not gonna
yeah.
lie, like that was probably one of the toughest ones you've given me.
I mean, that's not something you expect to see in a cafe, especially in
I
Kilkenny.
when I said Stalin, I was also like kind of like it couldn't be Stalin. Surely
Yeah,
like
because who would have that on the wall?
who put that on a wall in a vegan cafe? Like,
Yeah,
but I
yeah, a
suppose
bit of a
that's
push.
kind of the point.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, is that going to be a thing there? Every time I go back to Kilkenny, I just have to go to this cafe to look at this poster. My leader. Okay, I'll let you go.
Okay, so my out of context weekly scenario is an unlikely source of motivation.
An unlikely source of motivation.
Yeah.
Does this have anything to do with using the bathroom?
No,
Okay, an unlikely source of
I
motivation.
worry for your colon that that's the first thing that popped into your head.
I just expected because you've been on a diet and I say and you drink a lot of water, like you probably go to the bathroom a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
this is true.
yeah, this is true. This is true. Anyway, I'm barking up the wrong tree. So, does this have anything to do with like your job, like your workplace?
No,
No. Anything to do with sport?
yeah, not particularly sport.
Not particularly sport. Does it have anything to do with some kind of exercise?
Yes,
Exercise? Yes. Okay. So, has anything to do with you going to the gym?
yes.
Yes. Okay. Can you just say the phrase again, just so I can kind of wrap around my head again?
Unlikely source of motivation.
An unlikely source of motivation, and it has something to do with the gym.
It wasn't a Stalin poster in the gym.
No, it wasn't. No, just your wallpaper on your phone as you run. You know. Okay. So Unlikely. So did you go to the gym when you weren't like you didn't have it on a planned schedule like to go to the gym? No. Did someone text you being like, "Hey, like I'm going somewhere," and then you were like, "Oh yeah, I'll come with you and do a bit of exercise with you"? No. Did you eat shit like the past couple of days and like a week or so, and you're like, "Jeez, I need to go back to the gym now. Like this is like it's gone too far." Okay, okay. An unlikely. Oh, did you see like a video of like that's something just like likely motivated you, and like it's not something that you expected? Okay.
You're getting warmer with that kind of concept, but like also no is
Did
the
you watch a movie that you just surprisingly got motivation from?
no
So you watched something that you got motivation
no.
from? No. You said an unlikely bit of motivation. Was it from I mean spoiler alert, me and Nicola saw you, but was it from like me and Nicola when we were like, oh like you look great, you lost loads of weight and stuff?
No.
No? Okay, what's an unlikely bit of motivation? So you weren't influenced by any kind of technology or media
No, no.
for you to do it. Okay,
Technology
let's
was like
not in it, not involved.
phone wasn't in my hand in any sort of way.
Was someone involved that was you were speaking to involved?
I wasn't speaking to anybody.
Okay, so you were influenced by something you saw.
Yes.
Yes. Did you see a poster
No.
or like advertisement for a film?
No.
No. So not an advertisement for a film. What did you see? Did you see someone like? Did you see someone like we used to go to school with that's like lost loads of weight or something like that?
No.
No. Why? What are you getting? I'm trying to think. What are you getting motivation from just seeing? Um, were you in the car when you saw this?
No.
Like, were you driving and you saw something? Were you in the house?
No.
No. Were you out in the park?
No.
Were you in the food shop?
No. We've already established I was in the gym.
Oh yeah, shit. No, but I thought you were going to the gym. I didn't know you were in the
No,
gym.
no.
My bad. Did you just see someone live like a mad amount of weight and you were like, Jesus?
Not really. But you're
Did you
again
see?
you're getting in the right direction with that. But what you said no, but you're heading in the right direction.
Was it so? It was someone using the machine that you got mad at. You were like, damn, okay, fair. I need to get going. Like,
Yeah, again, you're getting warmer. You're getting warmer.
did you
Not.
see like an old lad, like 90 years of age, just pumping iron?
You're getting there. You're
You're
getting
getting
there.
there. Okay, so does that have to do with anyone that's a bit of the older generation?
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I'll just say yeah for argument's sake.
Okay.
You're about like 50% there. I'd say you're just like
50.
missing like the motivation.
Did he have like his missus with him and he's just pumping iron in front of her like as a 90-year-old man? That would be funny to see, though. Uh, Jesus. What am I missing? Okay, was he doing like a bench press or like a really like heavy squat for like his age, like a serious amount of weight?
No. No.
Was he on the treadmill?
No.
Can you give me the exercise he was doing?
He actually was not exercising at this point, which might be
Oh,
a hint.
okay. Was he just in like some serious shape for his age? Like I mean like ripped at like 90 years of age.
No.
Then what's the motivation? I'm trying to think, like what are you getting motivation by looking at him? Was he just crazy and he was just like doing mad cartwheels and stuff in the gym or doing backflips?
I feel like you're kind of going in circles here. You've got like 50, but you've got like no where when you just haven't got like what motivated me. You know.
What? Like
Like
what?
it's
What is there to
unlikely.
like?
So unlikely is a key thing here. So like no,
Yeah.
seeing somebody like that is like very inspiring. It's like oh that's great. I wouldn't say they are likely sources of motivation. What's something that an old man in the gym like no like just think of like no how they carry themselves and like why would it be unlikely that that would motivate me? And if you can guess like if you can get something similar like no like based off that you know it's not very obvious that you'll be like oh yeah I'll get it like now straight away but like,
I
just to
don't.
start heading
All
into
my
the gym.
years, all my years of being in the gym and staring at all men is just not cutting me close right now.
Yeah, like I'd be
um,
surprised if you or any of the listeners had a similar source of
Experience.
motivation as well. Like,
Okay. Uh, Jesus. I don't know. I actually don't know. Okay, so has it anything to do with like he was doing something that you just wouldn't expect him to be doing at his age, like I don't know, a movement or like
no, like
chatting some young one up, or like I don't know, like was he chatting some mad game, or
no,
was he down in like a bit of protein or C4, like getting in the zone, like a bit of pre-workout. All right, I'm gonna take an L here, lads, because I feel like I'm just going in circles. We'll be here all
I
day
don't
on the
think you're
podcast.
like.
Yeah, yeah,
I think you're caught in a loop, and it's not gonna happen. So
yeah, yeah.
the unlikely source of motivation for me was I was in the gym. I was doing my weights, and I said to you, I don't think I said it on the podcast last week, but I sprained my ankle recently, so I
Yeah.
wasn't able to go to the gym for 2 weeks because I couldn't walk for a week, and then anyway, was back in the gym. It was my first day back in, and in the last few weeks I'd moved up in my weights that I was doing, so I'm now like lifting 35 kg for a shoulder press, and it's a like because like yourself when you move up in weight, like the first
Hmm.
few weeks of doing it are like really tough, and you're
Yeah.
struggling, like your arms, like in your last few sets are gonna shake and stuff, like when I was on like my set, so I do 15 reps and 3 sets, so
Yeah.
I do 15, and I always find the second one into the third one is the worst, obviously.
Of course.
I just finished my second one, and I kind of got up, and the gym was fairly full, and I was like on my bench. I had like kind of come up, and I was like sitting up for about 10 seconds. I'd usually take about a minute between my sets,
Yeah.
and I was about 15, 20 seconds up, and this old man was setting up in front of me, and he was setting up a bench press, and he was just like bent over the whole time. His arse crack was on full fucking display, and I said, you know what? It just motivated me to just get back. I was like, I don't need to be looking at this. Because
How the
I was like,
hell?
look, he's right in front. Like I'm not joking. He's like half a meter in front of me.
How the hell was I meant to get
I just,
that? Were
you know
you?
what? I said
How the hell were
that
you
happened, right?
expecting me to get my premise?
You've
Like,
given me a
obviously.
verse. You've given me a
Oh,
verse.
okay, that is. But like, how the hell did you expect me to talk about all man's arse cracks and is that a form of motivation? No,
Yeah,
genuinely,
I was there, and I was
genuinely.
like,
Like, I want to know, like, what were you thinking of that? Like,
I just
okay, it's
thought it was
fun.
funny out of
No,
context.
it is funny how it comes. But how the hell did you expect me to get that?
That's your fucking cross to bear, my friend.
Oh god.
Yeah, like I
Oh, was
was
he
like,
lifting mad heavy weight, or was it just
I
like?
couldn't fucking tell you. His
I'll
arms were
tell
in front of
you.
my face. I couldn't see the weights.
You just wanted to get out of there. You just get this.
That was kind of it. Like it was kind of like I just was there, and like my arms were fairly sore. Like I was like they were pumping. After like doing my second set of them, and I was like, yeah, fuck this. Like I was like, I need to finish this. Like because then I'll just be staring at this fella's arse crack. Like like he was just like he was aggressively bent over, and the shorts were aggressively low. You know, like he was on display. Like
You do see everything in the gym, don't you?
yeah. But that just kind of like pushed me to be like, no, fuck this. Like, I just need
I,
to
I need,
go.
I need to get this set over now.
Yeah, for sure.
You should have took a photo and then had that as your wallpaper as every time you're in the gym. It's just like,
No, I don't even like bring my phone. I leave my phone in my locker.
do you listen to music when you're in the gym, or are you just raw dog it?
Yeah, I listen to music. So I'll have like the way my gym is. So like, there's like lockers like right outside the gym, and I'll
Cool.
put my phone in the same locker every single time, or like the ones to the left, to the right of it if it's not available, because I know it'll stretch the course of the whole gym.
Hmm.
So I put it in, and then I throw my phone to do not disturb as well, and I just go in and go.
That's a
Um,
good idea, and then you can just connect to your music through your what's it called Apple Watch.
yeah, well,
This
no,
little quick little effects there.
yeah,
Oh,
like
they can still connect from the phone. Is that how close
yeah,
they
yeah,
are to?
like I'd say it's like the distance between like I know it says it's like a 2 meter distance from the lockers to the phone,
Oh, okay,
and then the gym
that's
itself.
fair.
It's not a huge gym. I'd say the gym itself is only about 5 meters.
I saw like it's
So
like this like Yeah, you walk to one end of the gym and the music just disconnects and you walk back, it comes back on again. It's one of them
Yeah,
situations.
thankfully that doesn't happen with this gym. The gym I went to before, like when I used to go to Deer Conroy and when I lived in Blanche, that used to happen to me there because the lockers would be like on the like it was a huge gym and it was on the opposite side of the room. So like that would happen if I went to go do weights because they'd be on the opposite sides to the lockers. But thankfully, like it doesn't happen in this one. Like because yeah, I don't like having my phone on me.
Yeah, it can be a bit of a distraction, I think,
Yeah,
especially if you want to get in and like we're kind of talked about before, where we're kind of people that want to get in and get out,
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of.
That's
And I
the thing.
think,
Like people have been saying to me like, "Oh, you're so great going to the gym." Blah, blah. Like my motivation, other than old man arse crack, is to get in and get out as soon as fucking possible.
yeah,
It's like, oh, like, how do you get up at 6 a.m. and do it? I just want to get it out of the way. Like I don't want to
yeah,
go. I don't want to go. That's the thing. I
yeah.
don't want to go. So I just want to get it out of the way and rip it off like a bandage.
Yeah, well, that's what they do say. Like doing sometimes hard stuff can you get reward from it, and I mean clearly it's been working for you. So I mean the motivation is definitely there, I'd say. But it's more I'd say it's more about showing up rather than actually the motivation.
Mm.
Because I think like a lot of people when they start the gym, it's like they're really motivated for like the first 2 weeks, and then the motivation goes, and then because like me and you kind of talked about before, like obviously there's days where we all wake up and we're like, oh, I don't want to go to work or oh, I don't want to go to the gym. But you know, if you gotta go, like you've got no choice. And it's kind of the same thing with you. It's like repetition is just going to make the betterment for everybody in that situation. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, so if you got them legal bindings, baby, you'll get them gains. Grr. Yeah, talking to a man who hasn't been to the gym in about 6 months, but there you go. But Ooh. It feels weird because we actually haven't done the podcast like in a while. Like it's been like a bit of a long break.
Yeah, well, for the thing is, like, the episodes are coming out weekly still, but since we recorded, because we recorded like at the start of last week, and we're recording at the end of the next week, it's like it actually feels like 2 weeks since we've recorded, but we've also seen each other in person since then. So like,
Yeah,
it's a bit yeah, the brain fog is a bit fucked up at the moment.
and like I was saying because so that Sean stated there, right? Me and Nicola came home for a couple of days and see some friends and family and stuff like that. And it was like we only really got to see each other for about I'd say maybe just under 2 hours because we were kind of caught for time again, like every single time we come back. But I actually, I say it was really nice to see yourself and Simone, and we went to like a really nice cafe as well. And that's one thing I remember is like I was saying to Nicholas, like the food like choices back at home are just so much better. Like it's you've got so many options, and it's like to even like meet up with friends and stuff like that, which I would say compared to over here. I mean, you still have it here, but I feel it's more like outdoor activities here rather than compared to like the food choices at home.
Mm. Yeah,
Definitely, I noticed
I've
anyway.
been seeing lots of like TikToks of Americans coming over here, and they're like, "Oh my god, the food quality here is just like next level."
It's like we talked about this before. It's because we have
Home
such
cooked.
good dairy contents and such good, like our vegetable produce is so good.
Yeah, and even just the fucking meat and fish, like the basics, meat, fish, and spuds. Like, oh my god.
I think as well, like you don't actually, I would say you don't notice that until you spend like a good while out of the country. Like even before, like you said before, like you'd go like you've been like out of the country for like even 2.5 weeks when you went to Salou or when you went to Sunny Beach and stuff like that. You'll even feel it after like the second week. You're like, oh, the meat is so much better at home. Like the milk is
Yeah,
so much better at home.
I think though, like it depends. Like if you got, I think those holidays and like a city break and stuff they're very different vibes. Like when we go to Slough
Mm.
or go to Bulgaria or something like that, like we're not going for the food. Whereas like I'd
No,
have
of course.
a higher ceiling if it was like Italy. I when we do, I've not been to Italy before, but like when we do, I've got quite high expectations that the food's gonna be quite good.
Mm.
Maybe some people would feel the same about France, and I don't know if I'll ever go, but like I'd love to go to Mexico someday, and I love Mexican cuisine, so like
Same.
I'd hope that like that lives up to the hype.
Like the authentic style of Mexican food cuisine would be so good.
Just to touch on, I know we have to move on to the topic, but I actually had such a fucking big like food win at one point this week because one of my
Okay.
favorite things, even before I started dieting, and this is really healthy food, but it's just really high in calories, is avocados. I fucking
Yeah.
love avocado. I love guac, but it's a really high calorie
Hmm.
food, so I don't often get to have it. Or if I have it, it's like it's like I can't have avocado and spuds in the one dish. Like say if I was making like a kind of burrito bowl of some sort, like or like rice, like you'd have to like have fuck all rice because the avocado is so high in calorie, but I love it. So I've been looking for like low calorie substitutions for avocado, and I was in. This is actually after we were with you guys, right?
Right.
I was going to pick up my brother, and we just stopped into Eurospar in Hartstown to get a drink, and walked in, and I saw like this Spar own brand guacamole style dip. So this thing probably has like
Okay.
5% avocado in it, like But I said, I wonder what the calories are like on it. Saw, and it was like 20. It was like 110 calories per 100 grams, which like you're not using 100 grams, like you're using like 25 grams. I was like,
20
oh my god,
pounds.
these are great
That's pretty
calories.
good.
I was like, happy fucking days. I was like, look, it's £3. I'm gonna buy it, take it home, throw it on one or two things in with in my diet this week, and if it's nice, I've just fucking got a big win. If not, it's £3. Whatever.
I think it's surprised like we never looked at like unless once you start like counting calories. I mean, and it probably is. I mean, we're not two health gurus, but I would say the most beneficial way to lose weight is probably to count your calories. From
Yeah,
what most people say, yeah, like from experience as well. And I would say like it's such a win like for you there, like in that situation is where like you really like avocados, but to find an alternative is always the best way because it's like you can just fit in an extra few calories somewhere else.
yeah,
And it's mad then to think about like when you're like not dieting and like say like you go for like say you're on holidays and you eat like a week of shit eating. It's like can you imagine the amount of calories you're eating in one day? It's like Jesus.
yeah. Like it's even like mad. Like thinking back to when I used to live with my nana, and my nana, like, because like she's always said like, oh, you've lost a lot of weight, and like my nana always like made it a point to be like, oh, I always cook homemade things and stuff, but like I didn't say this to her, like, but I was like, it's mad to like what you are making is actually very high in calories, and like while it like it's one of those things like avocados is another thing that you would think on paper is really good for you, and it is good for you. I'm not trying to say avocados aren't good for you. No food, no one particular food is bad for you. Guilt is not an ingredient in food. Just want to
Exactly.
reiterate that. It's about changing your like relationship with food and stuff. But like with like it's something my nana used to make probably once a week would just be like fish spuds and like beans or a salad of some sorts. But like salmon is so high in calories and so high in fat. Now it's also very high in omega 3. It's also really good with protein and stuff. It's not a bad cut of meat, but like it's stuff like that where like I even before like before I started dieting, I'd be like, oh, I have salmon once a week. I have loads of chicken. Like I wouldn't have considered my diet. Like I obviously wasn't eating great, but it's like I don't understand how I'm as big as I am. But then it's when you realize like salmon's very high in natural fats, similar
Yeah.
to avocados. It's very high in natural fats, which if you don't use it efficiently or if you don't know how to like make those work for you, they're not gonna. It's gonna cause you to gain weight.
I think this would be a really good topic actually to do on the podcast, maybe like people's relationship with food, because I feel like there's not like enough. I think there's a lot of information, but I think there's not enough. I don't want to say like schooling education, but like this is not something that we are necessarily taught in school. Like, yeah, okay, we have, see, it was not, I would say SPHE where they kind of locked, like spoke about,
Sex and
you know,
food, my two favorite
yeah,
things.
yeah, my two favorite things. Probably not the right class, but like kind of like the five whole foods that you need to get in. So you need to get your vegetables in, your carb load, and your proteins, and then your sweets is always at the top of the pyramid. Maybe it's not like something as that's probably not the best way of kind of implementing it into like people's diets. I think there's probably a better way to go about, you know, okay, you were saying there like there's a lot of natural fats in salmon, but like how can you implement that into your diet without over affecting your particular body? And I think that kind of works for obviously for people that have different weights, different, sexes, where you're from. Like again, that you deal with the tools you're, dealt with when you're given them. So I think
Yeah,
like
no,
that is
let's talk
something
about
that
that
we could
next
talk
week
about.
as the topic
Yeah.
because I think it's interesting, especially like how my relationship with food has changed over the last year
Hmm.
and stuff
And I'm
like
sure
that.
a lot of our listeners probably have similar situations and stuff as well that we can all talk about.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah. So
there you
if
go.
you'd like to send anything in regarding that, hit us up on Instagram. We'll record that episode soon, I
There you
suppose.
go. We're coming up with topics on the spot. You love to see it.
Live
But
on the
this
spot.
week, but this week we have a topic prepared. Oh, see there again. And I know you hate me saying it, but I'm coming up with them on the spot. So, like I said, there we have a new topic for this week. And because I came home and I met my friends and my family, we talked about the premise of reminiscing, as we all do. talking about the good old times, the good old days when you meet with friends and family. So I thought it'd be an interesting topic to bring forward so we can talk about why we reminisce with our friends and do does this I don't know if you've seen all of The Office, but it's like I wish I knew I was in the good times before I left the good times. So this is like a good segue from what we were talking about prior. So what's kind of your experience with reminiscing? Like, do you think it's good? Do you think it's good to focus on reminiscing? Do you do it a lot? So I'd like to figure out where Sean's head is at
I
on
wouldn't say I
reminiscing.
reminisce on my friendships that much. Like I try and live in the moment with a lot of things. Like
Mm,
especially when I'm with people. Like maybe like when
mm,
you're at home and you're thinking over things and stuff. But I do for the most part when I'm with my friends. Like when I'm with you guys. Like last week when we were, which is like I try to be
mm,
in the moment, which is like I try
mm,
not to like just be focusing on what was or like what is or isn't there. Or
mm,
who is or isn't there. Like in certain instances, like yeah, like I remember there was like one period when I was like 20, 21, where like two friends that I had had for like 10 plus years, like one of my friends who I was friends with my whole life, like, I just stopped talking to them, and at that point I was like, like, oh, like, it's hard not to feel like a bad person in some instances, but in both instances, I like stand by my stance and the reasons for us, like, not talking anymore were, you know, for a multitude, and like I'm now like at the stage where like I speak to both of those people again. I wouldn't say like we're the closest friends and stuff now, but typical like early 20s fucking you just have a disagreement or whatever like that. You don't talk for a couple of weeks or a couple of months or a year or two, like but like that's all it's all buried now. But like I think maybe at that point, at times it would have played over my head and been like, oh, am I the asshole? To quote the Reddit TikToks, like
mm,
but yeah, for the most part nowadays I try and live in the moment and focus on the good. In general, I try and be like quite optimistic. Like I think especially when it comes to friendships, like if people wanted to, they would. I think it's very easy to get lost in friendships as well. And I know like this has been a big thing for you, like since you moved away, like
mm,
trying to like touch base and keep up with people and stuff. But
mm,
I do my best to kind of have it both ways in the sense of like like I'll do my best to check in with people and do my best to meet up with people and stuff, but I also expect the same kind of from them
mm.
in some
Yeah,
senses as well. Like if they wanted to check in, they
yeah,
would.
it's kind of like taking what you're already given out.
Yeah,
I would say kind of like going reflecting more on the reminiscent part, I would say it's kind of like because I don't see my friends often, it's like when I do meet with them, it's like, hey, welcome back and everything, and then we all catch up. And then, like, which is hard not to do when you're friends with people for so long, is like look back at the good old times and like tell stories about, oh, do you remember this? And like, you remember we had this moment and stuff. Which I do think is great that you can that you still do that, and I mean like I still do it with Shaun as well. Like even when we're telling stories, or like we'll tell stories about like when he was over in Switzerland and things like that. And I do think it's really important to look back to say like, oh, like we've experienced this moment together and we laugh about it still. But I think it's like if you reflect on that too much, what happens is then your relationship just becomes an experience of the past. And like what Sean was saying there, it's like trying to live in the moment is kind of harder to do. And especially I think in this generation because we're influenced so much by, so much waves of technology and media and film, it's like sometimes a bit overwhelming with everything that we see and do. But I think the premise of what I kind of was talking about was like when I meet up with friends, I often like reflect back on good moments, very like highly from when we were like kids in school and stuff like that. And I think it was something that a lot of people still do today, and maybe not just like in Ireland. I think just it kind of is more like on a general basis. I think a lot of us are always reflecting back on best moments and best experiences we had with each other. I do think it's a good thing, but I think it's like if you focus too much on that, you get like lost in the past and like your friendship, like we kind of talk about. I don't know if it was the last week or the week before, but our friendships from when we were kids is very different to where we are now. And it's like if you focus too much on that one previous experience that you had with someone back then, it's not the same now. You know what I mean? Like your friendship with that person has grown and developed through different stages. And it's like I don't want to keep just holding on to that one experience I had with them just because I'm friends with them that long. It's like, okay, so where do we go from now, kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you think like you being abroad and seeing people and because the nature of your experiences with your friends now for the most part, like I know it's not and me and Simone were saying this last week, it doesn't actually feel like it's been that long since we've seen each other because we talk every week for so long. It's
Yeah,
not like we chat for 5 minutes, like we chat for over an hour, sometimes like an hour and a half, 2 hours every single week. So like it doesn't feel like that long since we see each other. But I imagine for like other people who you don't speak to as much when
often.
you go home and see them, like do you think that has a bit more of an impact on you for that? Because like we don't often, like I would say, like when we come on to calls, like yeah, like one or two throwbacks might get like mentioned casually, but it's never like the center of our
Our friendship.
conversation for us.
Yeah.
Like do you think like you being away has an effect on that for you?
Yeah, I think as well it's like the novelty of coming home like not often is always like it's like a return back to where you used to live and like be a part of in terms of like your ecosystem, in terms of like that's where you used to hang around with people very often on like a daily basis, in terms of like you would see them within once or twice every 2 weeks. Like we kind of talked about before about like being the accessibility of being able to just pick up a phone and like or knock over to someone's house. Like we don't have that anymore for sake. So I feel like trying to get out of that trap is very difficult because it's I feel like every time we return home, it's always like, oh, welcome back home, even though we might have only been away for 2 months. But I think once that part of the friendship or the conversation is done, I think it's then about like jumping over the hurdle of like, okay, how have you been? What's been going on? Because for us, it's a bit different because we have a podcast. We also chat a lot before we start the podcast. Not even just about the podcast, it's just kind of like up in our personal lives and things like that. But I feel like when I do go home and there's people I haven't seen or spoken to as much as like say, for example, me and you would, it's like trying to figure out where the friendship was before like 6 months ago and then where it is now. And sometimes that's easier. Like for example, like I'm not going to name one of my friends, but I haven't spoken to one of my friends probably about 8 months, like on the phone or anything. And I met up with him when I was back there, and I have to say, I was very surprised about how easily the friendship was able to like slide back into normal, which was great. Like, because I always look at situations like that as like a beneficial thing because it's like it's the relationship and the friendship is smooth. It doesn't need to be, you know, that bit of awkwardness and like to create conversation, which like I maybe subconsciously maybe was worrying about because I feel like when you're in a big group of people, it's grand, you can kind of hide, but when it's kind of like you just one on one with them, it can be a bit difficult. But I was like surprised to see how easy we were able to just pick up where we got off from last time, which I feel like a lot of Irish people are really good at doing because we're such storytellers like and such wafflers at the same time. But it was like surprising for me to be able to pick up on a relationship that maybe I didn't expect it to be as smooth as when I went back.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. I
And
mean,
I mean like it's probably kind of similar to you as well, I'd say like when you like necessarily you wouldn't speak so much with Nicola because you know our like I mean Nicola and Sean are friends, but like me and Sean would have been more developed over the recent years. Like he would be considered like quote unquote like my friend, even though they are friends, if that makes sense.
I'm actually friends with
Um,
Nicola longer than I am with
yeah,
Sean.
that's yeah, you are. But I mean, you would talk more. You would talk and speak more
Not to
with
make it a competition or anything, but
competition here. Yeah, 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 yeah. Third wheel here to the max, lads. So I would say like for you as well, it's also like how would it be for you when you see like Nicola, who you probably haven't spoken to like face to face in like 6 to 8 months.
yeah, but like, I don't think it's like a problem that's like I wouldn't even call it a problem. I don't think it's an experience that's exclusive to you guys. Like, I have friends. Like, I met up with a friend recently, who I hadn't met up, like gone and like met up for a coffee or met up for dinner or whatever like that. I hadn't met up with him in about 2 years, and like
Yeah,
I bumped into him recently, and we said, "Oh, geez, we must go out and do something." And like, it was water off a duck's back, like I said, I think we're like I don't know, I can only speak for like the Irish behalf, but I think we're pretty good for that. And like I think especially our generation is really good at. I think I've said this once or twice in the podcast, but I think where you are really good at just understanding that life is really busy, and that you know stuff gets in the way, and like like your priority is the people that are the closest to you, and like by that I don't mean you know I don't mean to be dismissive of other people, like but your priorities are like your partner, family, and like your close
Your
knit
job
circle
and
of
everything
friends
like
and like
that.
job and stuff, like
The
because
responsibilities.
they always have to kind of come first, and then like you work in you know other people where you can, like be your priority, like for me, like my priority is always Simone, my family, and like my real close knit circle of friends, like and like those people have like been friends with me for like 10 plus years, the likes of you and Adam and Robin and like Kelsey and Nicola and stuff as well, like they're the group of people that when something happens to me, I text them, like what an example of what happened this week, like I texted Imran out of the blue with some news, and like there was a very like close knit group of people that news went to, like and it's not that I don't want other people to find out about that news, and it's not like I won't ever share it on the podcast at some point as well, like it's not that deep, but like it's like just more like around the idea of it, like they're your kind of like close knit group, and then you know you there's like that outer circle as well, like and just to kind of bring it back to the point
Mm.
of like I think in general our generation are quite understanding of that
Yeah.
idea, you know, and it's like when I met up with my friend recently, and this actually happens with two friends. I've done this recently with two friends. Exact same situation. I bumped into them, went out for coffees. Hadn't again. It was about 2 years since I'd seen the two of them. It's water off a duck's back. Like you do your quick kind of 5-10 minute catch up stuff, like what's going on in your life right now, where you work and blah blah, and then you just in my experience, I find it easier just to just slot back in and smooth in to where it was.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the friendship and the relationship. Like, I think 9 times out of 10 it does work like that. I feel like you can slide back into where the friendship was before, which I always think is good because I always think that's a good sense of like you kind of both understand where the friendship is. And I'd say like the opposite to that would be like maybe someone has like developed or moved on so much that you can't find a common ground with them. And I think that, like, I now, not that I've experienced that necessarily myself, but I feel like that is probably where kind of sometimes issues can arise, where it's just like, there's no problem between the both of us, but we kind of both moved on to where the friendship was when we were maybe like 16, 14, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was. I just thought it was an interesting topic to bring up this week. I thought reminiscing is like very big and home. I would say on like it's very much on the idea of like homecoming for me because it's like when you come home, it's like all the aspects of like reminiscing on living in Ireland, coming back, and like being around your family, being around your mates, being around an environment you grew up on, and when you're living abroad, it's I'd say when me and Nicola do leave Switzerland, it will also be the adaptation of us reminiscing on when we lived in Switzerland and things like that. So
mm,
I do think it's important. I do think reminiscing is always good to do, but I feel like Sean, like what Sean said there when we before we began, kind of the idea of living more present as you get older is always better.
yeah, and like I think like from like the vibe I'm picking up off you as well, it's like there is times where you meet up with someone and they're just not the person that they were as well, and like I
Yeah.
don't think that's not necessarily a bad thing as well. People
No.
grow, people change, they get like they change their hair, they like gain or they lose weight, and their personality changes, like and that's just part of life, I think especially like at our age, like we spoke about this recently, like about how we develop over the course of a couple of years, like and like especially with like friends that we've had for like 10, 15 plus years that we don't see every day, where like you go and you meet up with them every couple of months, like where quite a lot happens, and when you do catch up with them, we kind of get the highlights reel of what's
Yeah.
been going on, like it's a phrase that I've used a couple of times in the podcast, but it is true, like you give them the quick
The
hits,
Instagram stories.
it pretty much, yeah, like and like that can be for good or for bad, like But
Yeah, I mean, it's like as in our lives, we always like to share the best moments. Like we said, like you said actually prior last week, I think it was the week before. It's like no one wants to, dive too deeply into their personal lives on social media. So when you do meet up with someone, you're kind of reminiscing on like, oh, I saw that on your story, and like you were saying there, the Instagram real aspect of life.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But definitely something interesting. And if you guys have anything that you'd like us to talk about reminiscing, or you have any ideas on the topic, I'd like for you to send it in to our Instagram page and we can discuss it. So there you go. Love to see it. So moving on swiftly, for our pop culture slash current affairs section, I thought we talk about the lovely National Day, and at home is our St. Patrick's Day as we're coming up very close to the date. It's the 17th of March. Today is the 8th, so we're about a week or so away. And if anyone doesn't know what it is, it's the death of our St. Patrick, our patron saint of Ireland, and which started in I think was like the 17th century, but now is obviously such hugely known throughout the world. And I think has developed more into a drinking culture day, which no surprise again for our Irish culture and the idea of what people believe Ireland to be. So I kind of wanted to talk about it this week with Sean a bit. Like, does he celebrate it? What's his experience of working on the day, not working on the day, and the overall environment of the holiday? So, Sean, kick us off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I don't have any like the biggest thing that like when someone says Paddy's Day to me, and this will show that I'm just a fat bastard. But the first thing that comes to my head is McDonald's Shamrock Shake.
Yeah,
You know,
I was actually hoping like you'd actually bring that up actually because
yeah, it's
I thought I
it's
was one of the only
yeah,
ones who actually really likes it.
I feel like Paddy's Day has become very Americanized. You know, like
Yeah,
Americans celebrate. I see videos every year of Americans going nuts for Paddy's Day, and like
I think it's
it's
in
not that big of
Boston
a
where
deal.
they dyed their river
No, it's
actually.
Chicago.
Chicago, yeah, yeah.
Chicago dyes their River Green every year.
It just
And
looks like
you just need to see
Shrek
the natural.
Swamp.
You just need to see the natural reminiscence of the River Liffey, which is green year
Yeah,
round.
all year round.
That's pure natural dead fish and sewage. You know, none of this artificial green. You know, this proper mold. You know, you know. But yeah, I mean, like I wouldn't say I particularly like not that I don't celebrate Paddy's Day, like but like I'm I'm 26, like I don't go to the parade, you know,
Mm,
um, or like and because I don't drink as well, like it's not something that it's just a bank holiday for me, like it's the same as like
mm.
I feel the exact same about Paddy's Day as I do about like Halloween,
Yeah,
Christmas
yeah.
comes around, there's some certain promos on in shops, like but I wouldn't be like I don't really live for any one particular holiday, like.
I think it's also like for me and what I've experienced like from the other side of people who maybe aren't Irish, it's like a day for the Americans for them to feel like they're Irish. They're always like their obsession with like someone in their family, like their great grandfather who was like Irish and he was from Carlow and he owned the bungalow and they like identify so much every that one time a year as Irish. I feel like it has developed into like a big day for them, which not necessarily I think is a bad thing. I mean, I think for anyone that talk highly of Ireland, I'm not gonna shit on you for that, but I just do think it has turned away from what the premise of like the identity of being Irish has become.
Mm.
And then I think I know I won't bring it up now because I'll probably bring it up a topic after this St. Patrick's, but kind of the opposite. I thought why do we as a country celebrate a day rather than maybe not necessarily our Independence Day? I thought that would have been interesting to bring up. For anyone that doesn't know, on 21st of January in 1999 or 1919, sorry, should I say, it was the formal date of the independence of Dáil Éireann. So I was surprised that we don't necessarily celebrate days of that. I mean, again, there was a lot of lives lost and there was a lot of historical environments, and also that we didn't get all our countries back, or sorry, counties back from England. Maybe could have probably premised on that why we don't celebrate it. And I have often seen that it has become like a seasonal, like every 20 years, 50 years kind of remembrance day rather than a yearly event. Do you think that could have been something that they could have looked at and tried to push for? Or do you think St. Patrick's Day was already so clued in as like that was the national holiday in place? Do you think that's maybe why a reason why they implemented it?
It's tough to tell from like back then. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I think Paddy's. I think like holiday celebrating as a general thing has only become more popularized like since the
Mm,
50s. Like since like that's from like when I used to look at history, people didn't celebrate occasions like, and I feel like that kind of peaked in the like early 2000s, slash early 2010s, like where like Christmas, where like people were buying each other Christmas presents that were like hundreds of euro, and same with birthdays, like like it was an
mm,
expectation that like for every occasion you would have to spend hundreds of euro on a Halloween party, on a Paddy's Day party, or an outfit for Paddy's Day, or an outfit for Easter, blah blah. I feel like that all that sort of stuff has like really gotten out the window now, and it's gone back to basics, which I think is much better. Um, but like I think this is like another thing that's kind of come from the Americans, where like not a lot of countries actually celebrate their national Independence Day. Like like there's not one for any of the countries. No, I know technically none of the countries in the UK are independent, like but there isn't like a Scottish or a Welsh national holiday. I know they have.
mm.
I think there's Bridget's Day, um, and I think I'm pretty. And I'm sure like St Patrick himself was Welsh.
Yeah.
But like I know like there's like bank holidays to remember certain figures in their histories, like but they don't have a day like Paddy's Day, and they don't have a day like the 4th of July in the States. Like I don't think there's actually many countries that do that type of thing, and I
Mm.
think especially for us, like because Ireland's existence and their relationship with the North is so political. I think
Yeah.
if like we were to rub that in too much, it might rub people in the North the wrong way.
Yeah, I do think the partition probably makes a big effect on why it isn't celebrated down south. And I think, I mean, as the coming years come and we look very closer to probably the idea of a united Ireland, I mean, not necessarily, I don't know how far we are in government policies towards it, but I do think it's something that maybe will be looked at over the coming years, maybe due to just tax reasons. But we'll see how that goes. But I think yeah, you could be right. Maybe the idea of the Americanized holidays being pushed a bit more in the public setting, like you were saying there, in terms of merchandise and dressing up and that kind of concept of celebration, probably is more looked after more rather than the idea of like celebrations of civil war and partitions and that complexity. I think maybe they do that as well, maybe to avoid the issues that we've had up the north and with England over the past, hundreds of years. So maybe that is something that is in place.
It's one of those things that's kind of like decided by corporations as well, like how it's
Mm,
celebrated. Like if you want to celebrate Ireland's Day of Independence, like go for it. Like nothing's stopping you from celebrating that or acknowledging that in your own
true,
home. Or
true.
if you want to go out and do something in a public space to commemorate that, like nothing is stopping you. Like, and we see that every couple of years. Like you mentioned before we started recording, like we see that sort of thing every couple of years with the Easter Rising. Like when it's the
Yeah,
100th anniversary. Like I remember when it was the 100-year anniversary of the Easter Rising, like there was a lot. Do you remember we done a reading in school about that together?
yeah, yeah.
Me
All
and
the
Imran
boys.
in fucking shirt and slacks.
You'll have to put that into the edit. Nice little
Um,
photo back.
yeah, like there's like it's like that was a big deal. Like we celebrate kind of like, or like we acknowledge like landmark occasions, like 50, 25, 50,
Mm,
100-year marks of these sort of things, like but we don't do it like every single year. Um,
mm,
and yeah, like, there's nothing stopping you doing that. I think, especially with the Easter Rising, where it gets complicated, is because Easter's moved every year.
mm.
So
Yeah.
and because it's associated with Easter, it's not like it's not the April 12th rising. It specifically relates to Easter Sunday, and because Easter moves every single year, I think that also complicates like people's acknowledgement, or people's kind of wants to celebrate it in a way.
Yeah.
Because like, that day in a way is almost more important, in like in Irish folklore
Yeah.
than
It's more of a commemorance day rather than a
it was.
celebration rather than.
Yeah, it was kind of more what kicked off the movement to
Mhm.
lead us down to the road of independence, like
Mm.
so
Yeah, I just thought it'd be interesting as something as a contrast against kind of what the St. Patrick's Day has become. Um, but yeah,
yeah. And what
before
is it
we,
like for you guys, like over there, like because you've got like a core of Irish people over there? There's like, do you
mm,
guys like like feel like a kind of like national sense of pride, or like is there like is there something there for you guys, like within the Irish group that's over there, like, you know.
I mean, it's funny because yeah, I was in work yesterday and the lads were asking me, "Oh, are you working on St. Patrick's Day?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am." And I was like, because I last year we had came the 26th of April when we moved over, so we had missed St. Patrick's Day last year here. So this will be my first one in Switzerland, and I was asking a couple of the lads at the bar, all the Irish lads who were coming in watching the rugby. I was like, "Oh, he's gonna be coming in for St. Patrick's Day and stuff," and they were like, some of them are actually heading home because yeah, they want to be, around the environment and stuff like that. And then others were like the other side of it, where they're like, "Oh, we've organised a meal in the pub for all of us to come in and commemorate the day and dress up in green and kind of have that identity living abroad," which I'm sure the Swiss people will love because again, like a lot of people do when we move, when Irish people are living abroad, they're not afraid to hide it. So it'd be interesting to see how the day goes and kind of like will I see much pops of green and kind of what I have been told by a couple of people that are residents here that it's not too big of a day necessarily here and that it's not publicized and kind of advertised everywhere. But it'd be interesting to see how the core group, like you were saying there, that do live here, how they kind of go about their identity. And for me, I always think when you're abroad and it's just nice to meet other people that are kind of in the same boat with you because you kind of feel like a sense of connection with them and they're doing a similar thing to you, saving while they're living abroad, trying to make a better life for themselves and that kind of nationality with that you kind of have a sense with them. Just moving on back to the idea of St. Patrick's Day before we move off the topic, I do want to say, like, have you ever worked during St. Patrick's Day? Now, I worked in a lot of restaurants on St. Patrick's Day, and I have to say, it's a really tough day for the workers. Yeah, it's very busy, and I'm luckily now. I mean, I probably will end up on the bar on this day because I'm considering it's going to be very busy. But I'd say working in a bar on St. Patrick's Day is probably a rough day because you're getting bamboozled by the huge crowds of, especially in the city centre where there is so many bars of outdoor drinking and consumption of other things at the same time as well. Do you think it's going to be a hard day for the people of Dublin, and have you experienced it yourself working in any industry?
I actually have never worked in hospitality on Paddy's Day. I left
Okay.
when I did work in a bar in a pub. I left like a month before Paddy's Day, and I joined like just under a year. So like I just about missed Paddy's Day when I worked like on a pub floor. And like I've worked in retail jobs on Paddy's Day. Like when I worked in Krispy Kreme, like there was always Paddy's Day promotional donuts, and like you'd get more kids then in that type of space because obviously, well, you shouldn't take your kids to the pub, but many people do. It's called childhood neglect. Um, uh, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I can imagine it's going to be a rough day because not only will you have a bunch of, drunk Irish people, but you'll also have a lot of drunk Americans that come over. Like it's a big thing for like loads of Americans to come over here on Paddy's Day and
Mm.
celebrate as well. So yeah, it definitely feels it's like kind of like Christmas in that sense as well. Like March is a fucking sneaky bastard for for people who work in hospitality and retail because you've got Paddy's Day there and you've also got Mother's Day in there as well, which means like
Two big days.
You've got Paddy's. You'll have a lot of people celebrating in the pubs, and then you'll also have a lot of people, maybe not like as messy drunk, but you'll also have that same level of business that people like for people going out
Mm.
for Mother's Day, like no
Probably the
Christmas.
retailers might feel Mother's Day a bit more, buying the flowers and the clothing and that kind
Yeah,
of
because
aspect of it.
I know a lot of people would like go out for a meal and stuff.
Yeah, all that also true. Yeah.
Like so, it's always one of those things that like we always are like, oh, should we go out? With my grandparents and stuff. It's like well, you won't get a table anywhere. Like it's too
No.
packed.
Yeah.
So it's just easier. Like I would like we normally like just stay home in that sense. Like because it's much easier.
Hmm.
Um. So yeah, and just like one final thing that's always like a kind of hot topic around Paddy's Day is the Taoiseach going to visit the US
Hmm.
as well.
Which is a very hot topic right now.
Yeah, like I think if Micheál Martin goes over, it's already been agreed. Like before the stuff with Iran and before any of the stuff that he was going to go over, which was fishy enough anyway. Like he has gone in previous years when Trump's been in presidency. Like like it's not like it's new. It's not like they've never met before. Like but last year in particular, it was a very I wouldn't say it was heated, like but like there was definitely a bit of tension there,
Mm.
and it more just like it's Mihal licking Donald Trump's arse, like and trying to not start any fires pretty much. Like, no, it's not, he's not even putting out any fires, like, and this is where a lot of people would say, and I don't necessarily disagree with this, as much as I dislike Micheál Martin and I like Mary Lou McDonald. Mary Lou McDonald would fucking get her face torn off over there because she would light so many fires in front of him if she was to visit, but I don't think she would even bother going over. But I do think that, like, we should not be going over there. Like, the Taoiseach of Ireland should
No.
not be going to meet the US president and go and attend his little fucking tea party in the White House while
Hmm.
the US is fucking basically becoming a fascist state.
It's a poor state of reflection of where like you're identifying the country as at. I mean, because when you take the role of Taoiseach, you're not only are you identifying as the person running the country, but you're also identifying for all the Irish people.
You're
And I
representing
mean,
them.
as representing Ireland, and as we've said before, Ireland has always been a very pro-Palestine, pro fighting for people that have been, abused and neglected in their own land. And I think for us to go over to the situation that's been happening in the world right now and where the states are at, it's just a very poor reflection of where you're trying to say our country is. And I think, I mean, I'll imagine so he will go over there, but I imagine that the reflection back will be, very poorly recorded from the crowd back in Ireland. So
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how
I
that.
really, it's just appalling that he's going over.
Mm,
To be honest with you,
mm,
and then hopefully that changes within the next week before, like, before the day itself, like, but it's
true.
I wouldn't mind if he was going to go over, or if someone was going to go over and challenge him and, like, speak to him, but, like, what you're doing is fucking crazy, like, and tell him. But Mihal's a fucking like, Mihal's not going to do that sort of thing. He's just going to bend over and lick his arse like he does all every year.
Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree with you there, and Mihal, you will not be on the podcast. You'll be getting no invite. But we will move on because I am cautious of time. So we will look into our your distance dilemmas part of our podcast, folks. And as Shaun has stated before on prior podcasts and myself, we do have a new link on our Instagram page that you can drop. All your dilemmas are anonymous. We don't know who they're from, and it's very quick and easy. It's just the first drop down link in our Instagram bio. And also, I'm going to let Shaun say the email because I always forget, but do I will tell you, warning, that it will not be anonymous if you do like to send an email. But if you want to do it that way, Shaun, can you please give me the email now?
Yeah. The email address is the distance dilemma pod@gmail.com. But as Imran mentioned, if you want to submit something totally anonymous, go to the link in our Instagram bio. We'll also pop it on our story throughout the week as well. And yeah, like,
Perfect.
we can knock straight into. Do you want me to read it out?
Yeah, you read out this week.
Okay, cool. So our anonymous submission is: I'm coming up to my leaving cert soon, but I'm not sure whether I want to go to college or start working yet. What should I do?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably something that we've all experienced, and me as well. I mean, I changed and started, and I mean, I changed my idea 4 times when I was coming up to leaving college again. Um, what I would say first is I would try not dwell too much on the idea of college, because again, we don't know what part, how close she is. Like, has she submitted her college reviews in where she would like to go? Has she, does she have an idea, or he have an idea where he wants to start work? And what I would recommend, and I think it really depends on who you have, but there's always guidance counselors in the school that you work at. And now I don't know how I have to say from my experience, I had a really, really, really good guidance with college experience, and like really a person who was trying to look out for the best interest, trying to say outlets for where you wanted to go. Now, not necessarily that I listened to that guidance counselor, but I have to say they were really good at giving me I would say like a plan in place for me to go to where I wanted to be. And like I said before, like I did a PLC, I did 4 years of college, and not necessarily on something I was super passionate about. And probably if I went back, I probably wouldn't have done the 5 years of education. But I am glad I did it. I met a lot of a lot of amazing people, and I did learn a lot while I did the course. And it's something that I probably, maybe might look forward to going into when I do return home. Maybe something I might give another try, because I do think it was beneficial for me in the long run. But what I would say, and just a bit of advice before going into, I would say talk to your guidance counselor. Maybe think about what you would like to be interested in. And again, there's also a lot of things that I think you'd be surprised that you maybe are well suited for that you don't even know yet. And a lot of people don't even find out what they want to do till they're in their, you know, late 50s. So I wouldn't be too harsh on yourself when you're 15, 16, 17, and you're still trying to develop, who you are as a person. Like Sean said before, prior, last week when we were talking about our development stages, is like the person you are when you're 16 is very completely different to when you're in when you're in college as well. Especially in your first year of college is very different to you're in your fourth year. So, what I would say my best advice starting off would be was go to your guidance counselor, try figure out what kind of things you're interested in, what kind of line of work you would go down, and then also, now not something I necessarily did, but a lot of people have done it over the recent years, is take a gap year. Gap years are a great idea. You can keep your college point or you keep leaving cert points, and you can apply the year after. And you can also in that year start work and maybe get a job in your local supermarket, or maybe an apprenticeship type job, get a bit of money for yourself, do a bit of traveling, and you might learn a lot about yourself in that way. I know that's the old, like, 50-year-old granny giving you potential advice there, but I do have to say I think it is something that's maybe beneficial for the younger generation. And I'm talking like I'm 50 years old here, but what's called yeah, I am. I really am. But yeah, for the young lads coming out of school and the young girls that maybe don't know where they want to go in the world. So that's my advice. Anyway, Sean, I'll let you go now.
Yeah, so that's all very sound advice. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna kind of go around the more
against it.
nuanced and I'm just gonna go down a different avenue with it.
Hmm.
Um, Honestly, what I would highly recommend anybody, even if you're not conflicted, something I would really recommend doing, something me and Imran both did, was do a PLC. PLC was such an eye opener for me. Because like, and the reason I say that is because one, I had a great experience with my PLC, but also I saw so many people who we both know worked their asses off in school, work like no, and they achieved like mad points, like they were getting like 450, 500 plus points in their leaving cert. Like no, I'm not sure how that works nowadays. Because I think they've changed up the systems and stuff since, but they done really well in their leaving cert. Like, we're in college for
Hmm.
2 months, hated college, dropped out,
Yeah.
spent so much their time in school stressing about getting into it, so much money, of course, as well to get themselves signed up for college, buying their study resources and stuff, and just college not being for them. And like this thing, like college is so different to school, and it's for some people and it's not for some people. And like I said, like there's people we knew that were like brilliant in school, super smart. They just didn't enjoy college. They just didn't enjoy the environment, and it just wasn't for them. And they just went and they dropped out. Like which there's no shame in as well. So something I would really recommend is doing a PLC. Also, your leaving cert does not fucking matter the second you leave school. Just want to like
Yeah.
really stress that because like it was something that like I saw, especially like in my own family as well, like a lot of pressure being put on people, and it's like the second you finish your last exam, your leaving cert is now irrelevant in your life. No job is ever asking you what you got in your leaving cert, and
Not anymore, no.
does having a good leaving cert help you get into college, therefore help you get better jobs? Yes,
Yeah.
it does, but also like we
Doesn't
said there,
define you.
there's so many avenues, and what's most important to employers is experience. Like so if you don't manage to get into the college course that you want, even if you can't get into a PLC because you can't afford it, or but you just there's not one that's convenient for you to travel to, or for whatever reason, like experience is the most important thing for employers. All a degree or all like these sort of college certs do for you is show that you can show up on time, you submit work to deadlines to a certain standard. That's all a degree does. Just puts that onto a cert for you. Like that's all it's doing. That's stuff you can do yourself as well. Like there's no shame in whatever you want to do. My personal recommendation is go do a PLC. Figure out and try, because what I done was I wasn't sure whether I wanted to go down a more creative route or a more kind of steady route. Like I was gonna do either journalism or history. I got offered places in college, but I said fuck, I want to do music for a year, just see how it goes. Loved music, went off, and ended up getting my degree in, instead of it being journalism or history, my degree is up in my wall. It's in media production management, which has been invaluable to me. But like that, if you'd have said to me at 18 that I'd have a degree in that, I'd have said, "What the fuck?" One, what is that? But two, why do I have a degree in that? Like, you know, but the PLC opened so many doors that answered a lot of questions for me. It made me see, and like I was fine in school, but I loved college and I thrived in college because I loved the environment. But like I said, it's different for everyone. So yeah, that's my advice on that.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I mean, me and we both went to the PLC. I mean, I went to the same college as Sean at the same time, and even just the people you'll meet, you learn so much about yourself and meet new people that you probably never thought you'd be in with in school. Because again, once you lose that factor of like popular social classes within the school sector, you'll come to college and it's very different. It doesn't
Yeah,
work like that. Everyone is very like becoming themselves and trying to identify within new groups and everything. So definitely, I think I agree with Sean there in terms of
even just
PLC.
like
So
being
definitely
able
give
to
it a try.
like being able to call your lecturers by their first
By
name,
first
being
name,
able to
yeah,
being able to wear your own clothes, like it's stuff like that that takes like, you know, it gives you a bit more expression, but it also takes some pressures away in some way
mm,
as well. Like you get to be yourself a little bit more, and like one of the big things with college and with PLCs and with any of these courses is nobody is on your shoulder being like you have to do this. Like, you know, in school they're kind of on your shoulder of like, you know, you need to do your homework, you need to do this in your exams because it matters to the teachers because they get scored and they get, you know, kept on,
agreed.
or they lose their job if they don't, if their students aren't hitting the mark. It's not like that at all in college. College is, it's your responsibility to do well, whether you do or don't get into second or third year of college, or whether you do or don't pass your exams or get your degree in the end, makes no difference to the lecturers, like, you know.
Exactly like life.
Exactly.
No one's gonna do it for you.
Right, well,
But
that
yeah,
is all we have time for this week, folks. So thank you very much for listening to episode number 55 of the Distance Dilemma podcast. Like we said there, if you would like to submit your own anonymous distance dilemma or your own dilemmas, if your boss is being a bastard, if you want to bitch about your best friend, if your girlfriend's abusing you, or if there's anything that's
Jesus.
coming up, that kind of joked. That makes a joke out of a joke there. I don't mean that. If there's something you would like us to talk about and you want to do it anonymously, please submit your dilemmas to the Your Distance Dilemma form in the link in our Instagram bio. And yeah, if there's anything else you want us to talk about as topics, as pop culture, anything like that, just send us a DM on Instagram. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for listening to this episode of Distance Dilemma. This has been episode number 55. My name is Shaun and I'm in Dublin, Ireland. This is Imran, he is in Thun, Switzerland. This is our long distance friendship podcast. And we will be back again next week at 6 a.m. Irish time, 7 a.m. Central European time. Until then, guys, thank you very much for listening, and we'll chat to you again next week.
Don't beat your partners.